Welcome to Universal Journey Talk, spreading positive energy. Hey everybody, I am Kirk with my brother once again, Eric, the Allegorist. How you doing, buddy? All right.
It was always
Nice. So, unfortunately, we're here on a sad day, or kind of a sad, event, as we've got here on the title. It's Daunte Wright, also, which in conjunction with Black Lives Matter, in conjunction with the riots, lot of negativity going on. First of all, of course, it's just really a very sad occasion that we've got a kid who is like 20 years old. It's so tragic. He did not deserve clearly anything at the level of what happened, a fatal, like, and I guess they say it was an accident. There's many different perspectives on that right now. Clearly, it's all fresh and brand new. There's a lot of angry people, a lot of a lot of different perspectives on all this. Clearly it's just another injustice, but we're hoping, but still, even within all of this, it's once again, where do we kind of go to try to make ourselves to still keep ourselves in a positive frame of mind, and to uplift. Of course it's going to take some time. There's a lot of time for healing and things like that, but so I guess Eric and I, we were just thinking like this would be a topic to talk about, and we wanted to kind of hit it from like several different issues, or several different angles rather. Like, one is more the practicalities of what can we do as a people to try to eliminate situations like this or minimize them. And then of course there's the the more of like the what about the energies that are being created and that we're putting out and that we're feeding into. And I think that that's also really important too, because it's all kind of like it all ties in with our our spirituality, our our mental, and our whatever it is to you that is that brings you happiness in life, and that's of course the most important thing. And I think, like, look, it for like, there's always going to be tragedy. The bottom line is that this universe, this world, it has everything that's good and everything that's bad in it, everything that's uplifting and inspirational, and then everything that's unfair and unjust. We're just hoping as a human species that we can try to make the right decisions and go in directions that can help our civilization and our consciousnesses to keep elevating, rather than falling down into a negative lower levels. So I guess I don't know, that's just kind of one of the parts I was saying. So where were you going with this?
Hi. That was you pretty much covered everything there. Like I was gonna say, like, you said, there's always gonna be tragedy. Now I would hope to say, well, we're not trying to manifest it. You know what I mean? And maybe there'll be a day where we don't experience this in many cases, but or that paradise, or that they speak about, whether it's on earth or in heaven or what. But with that being said, we do know Earth, or this 3D dimension that we're in, is a hell on Earth. You know what I mean? Which would be the negative, side, if we're gonna look at it, and then the positive side being the heaven. And I think as we evolve, and maybe there will always be a balance between dark and light, because just in this 3D realm that we live in, the judgment zone, the good and evil, dark, light, yin yang, whatever you want to call it. But in this 3D realm, we can see that there is a balance. You know what I mean? And right now, where we are, I think consciously, if we start changing our perception, I think maybe that's one of the key links to our heaven. as we always talk about, like, or when you die, you go to heaven. Some people, believe, or the other side, you go, but maybe just being alive in here, as we evolve into a more of a 5D consciousness, we would be living that heaven. Joy, happiness. That is a form of heaven. It's a vibration. The higher vibrational realm. That we're making contact with and becoming part of our personality. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be good to say that if we're going to manifest anything, maybe we'll manifest that our perception would be different, and at a higher level where we won't really experience that much tragedy anymore because we understand, what's going on. But as long as we're joyful creatures and loving and, want to experience, and be happy and understand that's your divine right, I wouldn't see why that would ever be an issue. And that no matter what's really going on, it won't be part of your reality, in a sense. You know what I mean? And hopefully that would be everybody's reality. So no one's experiencing these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also now, me kind of hitting it from the practical level of just, dealing with things emotionally and stuff like that, or even preventatively. I wanted to just, add that, now look, once again, you feel so bad for their families, friends, the community, and everything, how this impacts everyone, creates, such anger and animosity and stuff. But there are certain little things that still we can do, in cases like this. Like, for instance, I've noticed now, of course, not in all of these cases, but in some of the more higher profile cases that we've seen of, a black person getting killed by a cop or something. The one thing that I keep noticing though is that even though these cops are abusing their power, or they're making terrible gross calls that are fatal and stuff like that, I keep seeing one common denominator, and I think this is something we all have to remember, is that when you are arrested by a cop or about to be arrested or something, please try to be as compliant as possible, because it's like, you are now in the danger zone. This is a person with a gun, as we see, and not all the time are they going to make the right calls, or they're not going to react correctly. You know what I mean? And so in these high profile cases that we've been seeing and stuff, I keep noticing, like, why did these guys resist arrest? That's like that's the first one. Now, of course, once again, I'm not saying the blame is all them, but what I'm saying is, you're in a dangerous situation now with someone with a gun. Try and be as compliant as you can and avoid all of this, from the beginning, And the reason why that I say this too is because, just as a quick story, well, not a story, an actual thing. When I was about 17 years old, this very well could have happened to me. I was practically put in. Happens to a lot of people. Of course, when we talk about Black Lives Matter, regarding that, a lot of Black people, especially. But even still, this goes for anyone. But so I was 17 years old, just kind of learning how to drive and whatnot. I was out to lunch, with my mom, and we left the restaurant. We were going on our way, back home, and I see this cop car kind of like, really close up, tailgating behind me. And then when there was no oncoming traffic, he went into oncoming traffic, pulled up right next to me, and then looks at me, and I'm looking at him like, what's going on? And then he pulls back behind me. Oh, sorry. He pulls back behind me, and then turns on the lights or whatever, and I'm like, what's going on? And my mom's like, because I wasn't speeding. I don't think I did ran any of the lights or anything, whatever. No. So anyway, I pull over into this it was like an abandoned kind of gas station. Anyway, like 4 cop cars, or I think it was about 4, it could have been more, pull up, surround the car. they get out, they've got their guns, they've got, I don't know, the shotguns or rifles, whatever it is, all around me. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Now, I remember when I was younger, when something like that would happen, I used to carry my pocket, or in my pocket of my jacket, my wallet. So now imagine if I had gone like this to get my wallet. You know what I mean? It looks like I'm pulling out a gun. So fortunately, I didn't do anything stupid, like that. But then, so anyway, they come up, they take me out of the car, they put me on the ground. My mom's screaming. I'm all like, amped up and whatever. Didn't know what to do. I wasn't, really getting any explanation with what's going on. They're, interrogating me, and all this other stuff. Then they picked me up, put me up against the car or whatever and stuff. Now this whole time, and I guess then they were calling in stuff. My mom's freaking out, she's screaming, whatever and stuff, saying that's my son and everything, whatever. So then they did, a little bit of back and forths with calling, and then it was a misidentification, or at least that's what they said. And they thought that I was some other person who was armed and this other stuff. There was a warrant out for his arrest and blah 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 blah. I matched the description, blah blah blah, whatever. Now I think about myself at that age. Yeah, I was amped. I was all like, so what if I would like, what are you doing, man? I didn't do nothing wrong, whatever. And then I start, resisting arrest. I start, creating a shuffle. Now I lived, most of my life, including now, in a mostly white area. Okay, so if something had gone down, and not even like that really even matters, but if something had gone down, there were no body cams that day. Nothing on camera. If they had shot me dead, they would have probably just, whatever happened, they would have, the story would have fit that, well, he did this, he did that, so, it ended up where we had to take a shot, and that's it. End of story. You know what I mean? So my thing is just that I'm happy looking back that I did the one right thing, which is I realize I'm doing whatever they say, because this is scary. Like, this is, the choices I make now may affect me for the rest of my life or death, And so I feel so bad even when in these other cases, once again, none of them deserve to die, but right. But it could have maybe been avoided simply by realizing, okay, now's the time to comply. You know what I mean? Hey, fight them later in court. Do anything you got to do. This was unlawful. Blah blah blah. But at least be alive to be able to fight them in court. Whatever and stuff. Anyway, so that's, just the one thing I just kind of wanted to put out there, that yes, I'm not taking anything away from these, poor individuals that are now dead. But I'm just saying is when you're in moments, like that, dangerous moments, please try to think, clearly, calmly, and, try to be as compliant as possible. And then, sue them later or something, but don't allow yourself to end up like them, What's up?
Remember, like, in the end, no matter how pissed you are, man, I understand, but the reality is, by the end of the day, live to fight tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that simple. That's the only thing that matters. Like, nothing's worth dying over. You know what I mean? This stuff, you know what I mean? And you do see, like people got to remember, I don't know what's going on with these cops. Like, I'm just saying, if we're looking on a metaphysical level, it's almost like there is something going on. Because why? I mean, it's just so prevalent. You know what I mean? It's almost like, in training, what exactly are we training? You know what I mean? I don't know if cops are, like, if it's some type of, like, frequency. You know what I mean? Just fear frequency. That where with the past year, also with COVID, you could tell how the energies change on a metaphysical level. People are bugging out. You know what I mean? But you can see, and you can feel it in the earth. You got epidemics or whatever the hell's going on. You know what I mean? People are scared or worrying about this or that. Just so much stuff. So many conspiracy theories, and all types of stuff. You know what I mean? Got people wondering, thinking, which in some ways can be a very negative way. You know what I mean? And another way it can be very positive. You know what I mean? Because you can see with everything's going on. I'm not saying it's all negative at all. There's a lot of positive things, you know what I mean? But you got to see how, what, like I said before, about what's our perception of it. And one would ask, like, hey, look, without judgment in this, that, well, what's going on? Yeah, like, I mean, you get all these, minorities, blacks getting killed by cops, where it's just like, some of the stories is like, that really happened? Like, this is one of those stories. Like,
Yeah.
like she grabbed for a gun. I mean, she was reaching for a taser.
Yeah.
And realized she was grabbing her gun, and then shot her like. I'm just trying to, like, you can't help but try to go to how could someone make such a simple, mistake that should have been easy,
Yeah.
like avoidable, like you in training,
Yeah.
like when you're a cop, your dominant hand is where your gun goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like if I say, hey, quick, throw the football. Would you, if I'm a righty, would I naturally grab my left arm and
Right.
throw a football?
Right.
I would never, especially, or if in panic mode, I'm grabbing with my right arm.
Right.
That's what I always use anyway. Why would I ever go use my left?
Yeah.
What if I'm gonna write a contract, or let's say if whatever it is, I gotta write something quick. We're in a rush, and I gotta write my signature.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my right hand.
Yeah, your
That's
dominant
what I write.
hand, yeah.
Why would I ever go? Let me grab my left hand and go.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
That would even make sense.
Yeah.
She can't be. I'm sure she's not. I gotta give her the benefit. I don't think she's stupid. She probably was talented and gifted enough to take that job. You know what I mean? And I'm sure before that incident, why would anyone say that she doesn't do a good job or not? I don't know what the history is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thing is, there's something there with this fear frequency that's showing that even a cop that practices and knows how to implement this in a real life situation, probably better than we would. You know what I mean? This is what they do. That's what, you know what I mean? But in this fear mode frequency that's been going on, you could tell the cops who have the guns, they're more afraid of you than you are of them. You see? That's how, like, that shows you, in a sense, that's how much fear is going on. You can see it in a situation. It could be like one guy, be like you see like one black guy, right? And 4 or 5 cops, all with guns, and the black guy clearly doesn't even have a gun. But if he makes any move, bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? It's like that. So it'd be very dismissive to say, oh, those cops, they're just in the wrong. They just had it out and they don't like black people, they're racist. No, it's almost like there's got to be more than that. You know what I mean? We can't always use that excuse for every cop. I mean, no. I mean, there's a lot of good cops out there, man.
Well,
yes, just there's a bad apple in many bunch. You know.
Right.
So what is going on? I'm just saying, like, just out of curiosity, in some ways, to look in this bigger picture, like, what is going on? You know, like.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, there's many reasons for it. Like, obviously in time we'll go into it, like the Book of Revelations and goes in. The Bible talks about it. Many other, things. Climax aim.
Right. So one of the things, and once again, there's like you're saying, there's plenty of variables, but and then when you're saying about the fear thing, about the fear energy and stuff, that also it does lead me to believe, like, now what if, this will never be able to be proven, but a lot of the issues with 5G, helping to maybe interfere with people's proper way of response, the vibrations that you're getting from it. Once again, hard to prove, because there's always going to be the other side that supports 5G and blah blah blah. But for people that are of higher consciousness, we're always just trying to keep in mind all the other elements that your average everyday person may be like, 5G, whatever. Well, we have to look at everything from every direction, not only just physically, but mentally and spiritually. All those things affect our type of reality and how we respond to things. So I mean, who knows? Now I'm just throwing that out there, but that could be another small part of it. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's a theory. You know what I mean?
It's a thought.
Yeah, definitely can make sense sometimes.
Yeah, but I just want to say, look, when it comes to the like the riots and stuff, once again, I get it. You know what I mean? It makes you angry. You want some sense of, like something to happen. You want to make a statement. but I still kind of feel like, all right, there's a way to make a statement that's productive, and then there's a way to make a statement that's destructive, and I understand, the anger and wanting to get, like violent and stuff, but the bottom line is, okay, like, look, for the people that were making a stand out in the streets or whatever and stuff, I get that, screaming and yelling because, you're angry. I get that. But the one thing I just can never understand is when you get the ones that then they start, trashing their own town. They start trashing stores that had nothing to do with it. These are innocent people just like you that may be just as angry also. And then you go trashing their stores and then looting, so now you can get free stuff. Like, to me, that's also kind of like exploiting and taking advantage of someone's death, so that way you can get some free stuff. You know what I mean? Now, once again, I'm not saying that that's how everyone is, but I hate to see when stuff like that happens, when someone dies and then other people kind of take advantage of it. Like, oh yeah, we're angry too. Hey, let's get some free stuff. Now, for the other people that, were out there and trying to make a statement and stuff, I still kind of think to myself, like the way that I handle things, I try to, once again, think things out and see what the outcome is first. If you're going to like riot, I would almost think, if you're going to, go out into the streets, wait till you see what the verdict is. That to me makes more sense, because then now if the cop gets off, no charges and blah, 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 and they drop or whatever that, now you have a real right, in my opinion, to really stand up, make a statement or whatever. But to almost like riot the second that it happens, well, there's nothing that the cops can do. It happened. They were dealing with it in real time. You know what I mean? Like, give the cops a second too. I mean, they are, they have to follow certain protocols. You're not just going to get instant justice or whatever. It has to go through, due process. But so that was just, a side thing. Oh, and you know what? Like, I hear a lot of the rhetoric is like, we need change. We need change. And yeah, I fully support that. Of course, with everything that's been happening, we do need some form of change. I do agree with that. But my thing is there are some changes that have been happening for the better, but sometimes maybe we just take it for granted. Like I just mentioned before about when that stuff happened to me when I was 17. Let's say if I did struggle a little bit or whatever happened, and then they end up shooting me. For the most part, they're gonna, the story will end up being that they'll say whatever happened, and they felt the need to fire on me or something like that. Now, think about this: we've got body cams now for two reasons on cops. It helps to for the cop to be able to justify what they did, and you can see it all in real time or whatever. And it also helps to keep the cops in check. So when they do things wrong, now imagine the same exact thing with Daunte Wright. Now here it is, we see exactly what happened. Yes, he did resist arrest, but unfortunately, he was fatally shot, unwarranted, and had there been no body camera on the cops, there's a good chance that the story would have been much different. Oh, he struggled, blah, 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 things happened, and then they were forced to fire on him. That would probably have been the spin on it, and Daunte would maybe never get any justice. So just the fact that now that a lot of cops now have body cams, that's a change that hasn't been that long ago, where cops are now being held to a standard that everything that they do is also being recorded and monitored. So they can't just be, as crooked. I mean, as crooked. There's still going to be crookedness, but I think that that's one good thing that we have now. That we didn't have too long ago. I mean, either way, it's still a tragedy, but at least there can't be any they can't lie about it. So
you got a lot of things going on. Hey, you got shooting, you got people getting killed. And regardless of rather who gets justice and not, you know what I mean? Or what was an injustice and what wasn't, you know what I mean? It still doesn't bring back the dead. These people that died, that's the first issue, regardless. Now, whether the rioting is good or bad, or who's rioting for what reasons, and if they're just doing it for gifts and doing it, like people do a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? But I know all this fear, this anger, it's you can see it. It's eminent that how the world is coming to a climax of some sort. And we hear about it, and the ancients speak about it. The Bible and the Bible, you know, and many teach. Kind of like prophecy in some form, you know what I mean? And I like to say, I think before things get better, they may look worse, you know. And I think we're seeing it. But even like if on a grander scale, if we can maybe see a bigger picture, hopefully that will be the big change. So none of this, it doesn't matter. Rather, there's this time we got cameras on them, or we got this. But in the end, we need to change. We have to change ourselves. It doesn't matter how much equipment you got, or the next time we can get put a cop in jail, or get them fired, or some injustice. But they're still human. Like these people are still your brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? That's the reality. And you know when after that cop did what they did, whatever. If you jump into their lives, and we don't know what's going on, what they're going through, and what, you know what I mean? Who knows what's going on? What the training is in these in some of these places or facilities, and where you go, like so, because clearly, if we're talking about the police, it's eminent that there's a lot of just poor judgment in many scenarios where it's almost like, is this becoming an epidemic of some sort? Is this an actual disease? You see what I'm saying? So there's something that we really have to change. We need to change of heart. We need to really get more conscious, open-minded, and really understand if we're gonna start judging, understand what actually is right and what actually is wrong. What is actually humane and what isn't. I think individuals actually don't know the difference. A policeman shows up, you shouldn't be afraid. There's something wrong there. They're to protect and to serve you. So it'd be weird to be afraid of a person in uniform. But you see how automatically the intimidation and many things, and how this starts going on, and it's just this quest of power and more ego, and then eventually becomes a severe imbalance and judgment that it's a bad cocktail after a while between ego, power, and judgment. And it just makes more drama. It makes that drama wheel go, 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 go. And then it sends a ripple effect. And then eventually you can see the whole world change. And that's what we've been to this whole last year. You see it from all the shootings and the injustice, And it's eminent. It's like clearly, like, I mean, things are getting pretty bad when when the whole world is feeling it, from the injustice. Everybody in all races and come together in many ways, and in such good ways, to fight this. You know what I mean? And then that's really good. And people are awake. They can see it now. It's clear. You know what I mean? Things are clear. So even though it's bad times and to say, but it's because, but at least things are becoming more. We're seeing it, and people are understanding, they're comprehending what's really going on, and things really have to change, and people are actually caring more. So there is a positive side, because at least people know, look, this is reality. It's not a joke anymore. It'd be like, if we're saying, oh, global warming, or rather this, or rather you believe in global warming, but eventually, whatever, eventually you will care. So I just want to say, hey, people, we need to wake up. It's well, we already been awake. We just been in denial, So, and where denial is, that's somewhere in Egypt. Bad one. Bad.
Didn't. All right, so yeah, basically, I think the only other thing that I was just, I just wanted to state is that once again, we are in control of our own minds, our heart, our feeling, our vibrations, our level of consciousness, and the things outside affect us, but we can once again use them to how do we use what happens around us to affect us? Meaning like, right now, yes, there's a lot of anger, a lot of back and forth. People are fighting over things and whatnot and stuff. And again, it's understandable, but a lot of that it's emotion, and it's also low level vibrations that are being pushed through the atmosphere. And then what do we do? Do we then continue it on to other people? Like, yeah, man, yeah, something, and then perpetuate the negativity, or do we try to have more of the positive, not the positive, the higher conscious perspective, where you go, all right, this is tragic, but what can we learn from this, and how can we try to come up with better ways for people to hopefully not to get into situations like this from either the cops' perspective, or the people that were the victims here. And then just in general in life, because I know like there's I'm sure there's a lot of people now, they're on the phones, they're typing a lot of things on social media and stuff, and a lot of times what they're doing is they're feeding into the anger, feeding into the negative energy, or you can be one that's trying to say things and do things that have a constructiveness, that are still trying to bring people together. Like, a little bit on the Black Lives Matter thing. Totally, you see the importance of Black Lives Matter, but at the same time, we don't want to only focus on Black lives. There's a whole bunch of other lives out here where stuff like this is not only just happening to only Black people. There's immigrants. It happens to white people too. Certain things are going to make are going to be higher and more prevalent in the media, but it doesn't mean that they don't happen to anyone else. So what I'm just saying is that we need to not just focus on like how this affects me because I'm Black, or how this affects something. Whatever. Try to think about it as a people and as humans. And so how can you personally, even though we're all affected by this, try to don't use this in a way that brings you down and causes you to be a more angry person. If anything, you want to use that fuel to try to make it where we can, once again, elevate each other, be there to support each other, be there, to support everyone, like put that, positive energy out, towards, the unfortunate family that lost their kid and stuff. They're obviously going to have to go through, some hard times. Put some positive energy out there, for them, support in, whatever way you can. But at the same time, trying to keep in mind where it's like, there really is no us against them, unless you kind of create it, or you take a side. So I'm not trying to take sides. I'm not trying to say it's an us against them, anything. I'm trying to say is, like you've even mentioned, these are all, everyone's a person, doing their job. And some people, they don't do their job well. And unfortunately, some people really screw up, and now we see what happens, And either way, these are still people. Justice hopefully will be served, however, it is served. But in the meantime, for us as individuals to still keep, thinking about, it's, okay, that was terrible, but, what can I learn from it, and just move forward. I think that's, moving forward in a positive, direction. So that's really all I got to say.
It's a tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a tragedy it's something that's unexpected. Always, a case where what? Like, you got to be kidding me. And pain, and you can see, like, the suffering that got to go, the emotional suffering that has to go. That's what I'm saying. Beyond everything else, beyond the judgment, someone's dead.
Yeah.
When people are dying, we have to do better than that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, by the end of the day, I don't care what the story is, actually, so much as I am about the energy behind it. You know what I mean? Because that's the problem. Wherever that energy's coming, truly, you know what I mean? We're and we got to be heart centered and see these things, you know, and that's what really matters if we're talking about actually healing. Because no matter what, doesn't matter what the courts do, whatever, doesn't mean it's gonna stop. You know, like so, it is. We got to get balanced. You know, like we talk about perfection. You know, and well, perfection. The only thing of perfection really, basically, ultimately means to me, at least metaphysically speaking, or energetically speaking, would be balance. You know, and the closer we do that, mentally, physically, spiritually speaking, and it's not always about what you believe. It's just, hey, whatever you believe in yourself, as long as something is good and positive, I don't care. But I know it can't revolve around killing people. You know what I mean? Especially innocent people, and so it's like something has to make sense. You know, and we have to pick up on that, see the positive side, and what we can learn from these things, and understand it's worth to take the time and effort and put the effort to go a little deeper and further and to really see what really is going on. That's a simple question. You know what I mean? When there's a lot of time in times that like this, and we don't really like, there is a point you have to say, what the hell is going on? You know, it's like when the towers went down, you're like, what the hell is going on, man? Like, what's really going on? It's sometimes even, like, you can always feel it doesn't fit, like, the story. There's more to the story. And sometimes that's okay to just ponder or contemplate and be maybe a little more aware of what's going on and why things are like when you mentioned before, or like a ripple effect, and a lot of this, you know, anger and wherever it's coming from, and fear, it becomes like a ball, and it rolls like a snowball and gets bigger and bigger, you know, and sends a ripple effect that just spreads. Things are just being disclosed, you know, and that's always good.
Yeah, and you know what? I guess like just kind of like the last part I was just thinking too is that, you know, once again, like, you know, like I was trying to think of an example, like a lot of this tension that's happening right now, you're going to get a lot of that type of mentality, that attitude of like, man, F the police, F the police. And I'm like, nah, man, there's plenty of good people that are police that we need. You know, we need law and order. So, you know, once again, you know, like a few bad apples doesn't, you know, sometimes they say a few bad apples ruins the whole crop. Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just the other way around. You know, it's like, you know, it doesn't mean just because there are a few bad apples that the whole crop is bad. You know what I mean? And I think that still needs to be remembered. There's a lot of good people because, you know, I do think of times when, like, remember when they were, you know, trying to do like the defund the police thing and stuff. And I think, I'm not sure if I remember this correctly, but I think they did actually do it in one, you know, city or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was scary where when you called 911, there's like, sorry, there is no 911. So now you see like, well, wait, hold on. So I'm just saying, so not like, you know, so you know, we still need people out there to help with law and order. Yeah, not the corrupt ones and not the ones that do, you know, terrible injustices like we saw this, but we still need people, because if there's no police, then what, you know, what do you do? You know what I mean? Now, you know, for some people it's like, well, you know, I got my own guns and you know, I'm a gun owner and this and that. That's cool. But there's a lot of people that they don't believe in that. They don't believe in that, or they don't want to have that, you know, they don't want to live in a type of world where they have to have their own guns to protect themselves. You know, so, you know, we don't want our society to crumble either. You know what I mean? So once again, it's just like, it's not necessarily that these institutions, you know, protecting, you know, law enforcement are bad. It's just, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, hey, no one's perfect. No institution is perfect. So yeah, we try to when things like this happen, hopefully everyone gets together, we brainstorm, put in new type of safeguards and things like that, new type of policies and things like that. That's all good, but still, people aren't perfect. You know, hey, maybe one day it'll just be a whole bunch of robots walking around, and they'll perfectly be able to do law enforcement. who knows? Maybe that's the answer or something. I don't know.
Like look, with the cop, why she did it really, or this or that, you know what I mean? But in the end, it doesn't matter because someone's dead. And two, with her, it's I can't judge all. Like when you look at all this injustice has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Thousands, yeah.
So my thing is, yeah, you can implement new rules and new regulations and all type of stuff, but it's like there's something missing. We got to do better because we've been doing that for hundreds of years. You know what I mean? So there has to be something has to give. We have to say, I think everybody has to start going within, and that's what changes everything. It'll just be a whole new world. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know. But of course, it's just thinking big. And a lot of times, it could take time. You know what I mean? Rome wasn't built in a day. But the only thing is, it was built. So got to remember that.
Yeah.
So as far as concerned, things as bad as it seems, but things are being brought to the surface. When you got toxins and things in your body, whatever, a lot of times you get a rash. You know, but at least when you're detoxing, you're cleansing yourself, you know your body's healing. Yeah. So a lot of times there's going to be some type of, you know,
like a purging, you know.
Yeah, like a purging, you know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Right now I got my positive necklace on, a positive bracelet. You know, I'm doing everything I can to keep myself positive, you know, drawing that positive energy. I think, yeah, you just got that recently, right? So there you go.
More positive than a four-leaf clover. This is a real,
yeah, it's real. So, you know, and I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, just once again, you know, it's like whatever you believe, whatever it is that, you know, in this time right now where there's a lot of anger and confusion, try to keep that positive, you know, the positive energy coming, you know, your way. You don't want to get caught up in negative, even though, you know, you may be compelled, but, you know, that's what I'm saying, you know, like, you know, try you know, support everyone, try to keep your frame of mind in a more, you know, positive.
You become what you think. You become your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you think it's something negative or you're afraid of something or whatever, eventually you become that. It becomes a part of your personality. It'd be what you attract.
Exactly. Attract. Exactly.
Sense, so.
Law of attraction.
And intuitively, when you feel something, you'll know that was the right thing to do, or that's the right answer, or that's the way, that's the direction, the path you need to move forward to, overall, you know. And so I think that when after you're done upset, it's okay to get upset, and that's normal. Like, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to cry. You got to. Don't hold it in. That ain't gonna help. Let it go. And sometimes I understand it. Like, you can feel like, sometimes you feel like you just want to whoop somebody's ass. Right. But before it comes down to that time,
try to reel it in. You know,
reel it in first. Right. Give yourself some time to you know, calm down, purge that energy. Because when you're thinking just in the moment and it's just anger, you see how that just spreads.
Yeah,
and it's that avalanche. It just keeps going and going and going.
And that's my point. Is that once again,
and that's the point.
When you're thinking in the moment. So I'm just trying to, you know, again, you know, it's right now everyone's thinking in the moment. That they're emotional. There's a lot of, you know, aggression and anger and things, whatever. But try to think for not just for the moment, but just for, you know, the future, and to always try not to revert to your basic instincts and go with your higher instincts. You know what I mean? So.
And try to look out, you know, we're human beings. And remember, again, about this situation. And for Daunte, he's dead. So we already know, like that you know, it doesn't get any worse than that. Than you know, the point of death. You know what I mean? In that perspective. You know, because I'm sure he didn't cheat. He wasn't cheating. You know, he didn't choose to die. I'm saying, ultimately. But as for the woman, though, the police officer, we don't know. We're not in her shoes, and I'm sure she's not at home doing, you know, jumping jack. You know what I mean? So the route is, I mean, I'm sure she got family and things, and she's been on the force for 20 some years. You know what I mean? And then so also, like, before judging and all this, you know, we understand what happened. But a lot of times there's just more to the story in a whole nother way. And So I know a lot of people are upset and want to judge her and this and that and right from the door. But remember, hey, that could be your mom. That's somebody's mom, or what I mean. So we don't know everything, and ultimately, without judgment, that I'm sure this woman is dealing, has to go through the motions of this and that, and she's upset, and if she could take it all back, I believe she would.
Right.
You
Totally.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So before, regardless of what happened, I'm sure now, if she could go back in the past and give it another shot and start all over again, I bet she would, and would handle the whole thing, whatever. So
Yep.
it's human. So that's all I want to say.
I get you.
You know,
All right, man. Well, hey, it's a tough topic to talk about. I'm sure we'll see over time how it unravels. Let's just let's hope everyone gets some form of justice. Whoever all the different perspectives involved in this, and let's hope that things like this will start to minimize. That they'll make things to find ways to make things better. But once again, it's all about, in this world, you've got everything. You've got greatness, you've got badness, you've got justice, you've got praise, you've got inspiration. But it's what type of people we want to be. And the bottom line is still, to be, try and be positive even in times like this. And, what we put out is what's going to come back. So, that's what it is. Everyone, once again, there's so much there. It's hard to articulate it. Please, put in your thoughts, your comments, and keep the conversation going. Let's all try to dig in deep and figure out a way to to turn this thing into a way that we can move forward in a positive way in our life. And that's that. So, all right, man. I guess anything else? We're good, right?
we're good.
All right, man. So, hey, thanks everyone for watching again, and we'll see you next time.
Right.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Give us a like. We'll be replying to your comments in our next episodes. We post almost daily, so subscribe to keep up with the latest.